Minister, there's been a boat intercept. Let's work through the facts first of all. When did this incident occur and what other information can you give us?
Well, Greg, the intercept occurred earlier this month, and obviously Maritime Border Command receives information which alerted it to the presence of this vessel. The vessel was intercepted. There were 21 people on board, including men, women and children, and people claimed to be from Vietnam, which proved to be the case, and they were ultimately returned back to Vietnam.
What's the explanation for that as a place of origin? We are more accustomed to people originating from the Middle East or from Sri Lanka.
Well, certainly we've seen ventures in the past from Vietnam, and we're working very closely with the Vietnamese as well as you say, the Sri Lankans and the Indonesians, but there are other source countries as well that we need to work very closely with. So this problem's ongoing. People who think that the issue of boats and people getting on boats and paying people smugglers, that somehow it's gone away, it's just not the case. And we're seeing in the Mediterranean and in Europe at the moment that people are still desperate. They want to get on boats. People smugglers are still happy to take money. And we need to make sure that we bring refugees in the right way, that is by plane, not on rickety boats, many of which end up at the bottom of the ocean.
All right, we might get to the politics, the domestic politics of that in just a moment, but just on the facts as they occurred out there, somewhere in the Timor Sea, we understand it. Well, what happened to the 20? Was their boat destroyed? Were they taken on board what I think's been described as a Navy frigate, fairly large vessel?
Well, there was an Australian Defence vessel involved, as well as Australian Border Force assets involved. Obviously, we don't go into the finer detail, but it is the case that we have significant assets on the water and in the air. We have the ability to detect and we have the ability to turn back boats where it's safe to do so. In some cases, we will return people by air, and it depends on the operational needs at the time. But it's clear that the Australian Border Force and the Defence personnel have done a great job in relation to this exercise. It's dangerous transferring people at sea, particularly when they're on unseaworthy vessels, and we need to make sure it's done in a safe way. We determined that people weren't owed protection. Those people have been returned back to Vietnam.